Hey, what's up, YouTube? Doing a quick video on body conditioning, my thoughts about it. Hopefully, you'll dig something out of these thoughts. It's taken me, like 3 decades to come up with these ideas. Again, I'm always looking for like the 20 in Pareto's law, the 20% that gives you the 80% rule. So I like to keep it minimal, but based on truth, results, and what I found that works for me. So I wanted to share my thoughts. I posted on Primal, that's Noster, by the way, which is a decentralized platform. That's where I spend most of my time. You can find me on there, posting daily. And I did this post where I'm going to read it to you, and then I'll just go into it. So I kind of titled it BC, body conditioning. Body conditioning equals battery conditioning. So if you know you've watched some of my videos on conditioning the battery of your body, the mitochondrial system. We're electric beings, and how to remineralize your body. Minerals come before hormones, and removing anything that affects hormones. That includes inefficient mental programs, hamster wheels that run us, that chew up our minerals too quickly, and also removing iron, which has been added to the food supply and is causing us all sorts of problems. Iron dysregulation being the cause of all chronic inflammatory diseases. That's a quote from Professor, what's his name? Douglas Kell, University of Manchester. So check that out. I think it's extremely important. So it's something I focus on. Next, I wrote, you must enhance the natural processes of the body. Anything artificial looking to do better than nature, what you already have, will come at a cost, i.e. testosterone. Funny enough, I used the word body conditioning from a book I'm reading at the moment, which is by Johann something. It's called Man, Cattle and Veld. So if you're interested in looking at nature's systems, cattle ranching, it's a fascinating read. It's something I might get into at some point. And he talks a lot about body conditioning when you're looking at a calf or a cow. And I thought that's quite interesting expression. Also, he talks about body conditioning being different to hormonal optimization. And body conditioning is, you see it in the skin and the coat and in the structure and in its comportement, French word, what would that, in his behavior. So body conditioning is sort of the hardiness of your body's ability to not get sick, to get over things, to be tough, resilient, and in good condition. So yeah, it's very interesting. And he talks about when you're working, so all the academics, and in cattle ranching, there's a lot of, so the research and the academics, the science, and they're completely removed from what's really happening in nature, in the feld, like in the bush in Africa. He also talks about the incentives of pharmaceutical industries using interventions which actually weakens the body conditioning. So if you keep treating them for parasites, they will not develop their own immunity against that. And I'm all for developing natural immunity in the body. It's the hardiness, the body conditioning. And he talks about that a lot. I love the expression. He also talks about it's the arrogance of science that thinks it can play with the most sophisticated system, the most complex system in the world, nature, and it thinks it can play around with it. You can't. So what I'm talking about with enhancing the natural body processes would be like, you want to get copper into your system. If you want to know more about that, check out Molly Robbins' book, the Fatigue Cure Your Fatigue, Cure Your Fatigue, CU, copper, Cure Your Fatigue. And he goes into why. Very good book, highly recommend it. Valuable for your long-term life. And so if you're looking at the body, you want to enhance, so you want to be getting copper into your diet because it's not in the soil anymore. Now, the body needs retinol, vitamin A, real retinol, not beta carotene. So retinol from eggs, butter, copper, liver, beef liver, especially very high. So the retinol is like the key. It makes the copper bioavailable. So you can get this all from food. But you have to kind of think about it. You have to know, because everywhere you look on the internet, it says, oh, copper toxicity. But they just make mistakes. And in cattle ranching, they make mistakes. In medicine, they make mistakes. So it was, oh, don't eat eggs. They're high in cholesterol. They're bad for you. Oh, got that one wrong. Oh, high fat, high fat diets kill you. Oh, they got that one wrong. So, you want to never trust. You want to verify, is what I'm saying. So enhancing the body's processes. Now, something like magnesium is just not in the soil anymore. So I supplement with it. But I'm supplementing with something which is in nature. I'm not, I used to take testosterone 10 years. I've stopped taking that. So it's 6 months now. And physically, I'm actually lifting heavier in the boulders on the beach than I have done before. So I put that down to enhancing my body's processes by remineralization of my battery, of my body battery, battery conditioning, body conditioning. Lift heavy objects, as in nature. So your body's conditioned to, it sometimes needs to lift heavy. Bodybuilding, which makes your body looks bigger, is a mind-based thing. So people who do bodybuilding is because they think they're too small, or they want to look good. So it's a mental thing. It's kind of there's a mind impact there, but it makes the body less efficient because if you're just doing a lot of reps in a particular plane. So you just, if you can condition your body as you would do, some of the best physiques I've ever seen were farmer, not your classic farmer who's drinking and stuff, but one of the strongest guy I've ever met, pound for pound, he was brought up on a sheep farm, and since he was a little kid, pick up the sheep and put them on the lorry, and his physique was absolutely ridiculous, and he'd never done weights. So we took him to the gym. He was like, what do I do? But his body looked absolutely incredible. So you just want to enhance your body's ability and not think about it too much. That's my opinion. Is because bodybuilding, it creates inefficiency. So replenish body with its minerals, vitamins with food. Supplement only when necessary because food is lacking. Yeah. So, and then you want to go as far upstream as you can. So you want to look, what's your thesis about what runs the body? Well, for me, it's we have too much iron in our body, and we need copper to regulate that. And I think that's the biggie. And so we need copper. We need all the minerals, like you would in soils, to grow good crops. When cattle graze on grass, they're healthy. So you get the good food and make it very nutritious, very heavy in nutrition. That should be used. So like seafood, beef liver, beef, and then, at the top, a little bit of vegetables and fruits. I like fruits, and I'm like Paul Saladino a little bit more. Like I like honey as well, and I've seen it has an increase. My blood sugar doesn't spike from it, but when I have artificial foods, like chocolate and shitty junk food, it massively spiked my blood sugar. So some fruits, but mainly animal based. Eggs as well, of course, and dairy. Remove inefficiencies from poor lifestyle in fascial muscular networks. What I mean by that is, through trauma in childhood, we create holding defense patterns or certain postures that become inefficient because they're imbalanced. So between extension, flexion, rotation, etc. So as Gary Gray always used to talk about, let's say you're born with a perfect bubble around you. You imagine you know, in all directions, there's this, it's a bubble that is your functional ability, and that gets damaged. It gets dented through traumas, both physical and non-physical, but all physical traumas have a non-physical component to them when you observe very closely. So what we want to do is sort of, you know, like a body worker, is to knock out those indentations or inefficiencies, which is why me personally, I do a lot of stretching every morning. You can call it yoga, but it's just stretching exercise, twisting. I work heavily focused around my adductors, my glutes, my hamstrings, because that's where my restrictions are, spinal cord, and in my shoulders, so shoulders, hips. And I also, you know, in the week, go to the beach, connect with the sand, sun, and then I lift boulders, I lift heavy. I'm lifting, you know, not more than 3-4 reps, maybe 5 maximum. And you can't use your mind too much. You're constantly concentrating because the grip's not there. So it's just a great thing. So I do that. I do sprints or jogging and stuff, and constantly looking at making my body more efficient by allowing it to go into its full ranges. If there's any pain, which there isn't in my body, but if there is, then I'll be looking at that, because any type of pain, there's always a non-physical aspect to that, and it will stop your joints' ability to go through full range and create force. And then observe your imbalanced behaviors that make you inefficient, both in life but also in mineral burn rate / rusting. What I mean by that is you have behaviors that run you. In my book that's coming out in a couple of months, I talk about the 5 hamster wheels that run you. They run humans. It's a pattern I've seen in human behavior, and everyone has them. And you can kind of deduce or reduce down all your behaviors into one of the hamster wheels, like the main one that's running. And it's all come from a defensive maneuver from childhood through trauma. And so it's kind of like a very primitive, childish program. Defense, amazingly created very young, but what we do is it's become a habit, and that becomes extremely inefficient. So, for instance, yesterday I was working with the CEO on a negotiation, and I'm looking at his internal programs. It's nothing to do with the negotiation. I don't need to know. All I need to know is his worries, his concerns, and then it's an internal game. So if you have money problems, internal game. If you have physical health problems, it is an internal gain at the start. That's why I say your behaviors create your reality. So you have these programs on the deep operating system that you have inside of you, and they run you. And then through them you perceive reality, and that the stress and the emotions that come from them burn through your minerals. And the burning through of the minerals creates iron dysregulation in your body. And then iron dysregulation creates inflammation and inefficiencies in your organs and in your tissues. And then you start to get diseases. So that's the process. So what we're looking for is to understand our inefficient behaviors through the hamster wheels. And what that does is it stops you burning through the minerals. But if everyone's burning through their minerals really too quickly, so you need like the critical ones, which magnesium, I would say copper, which is bioavailable, so it needs to be, you need to be having retinol in your diet, so vitamin A. So I'd say those 3 are the key ones that hit everything. And then there's other stuff, but check out Molly Robbins' book for that. So if you would like to know more about those hamster wheels, book a session with me. If you want, you can do it yourself otherwise. But book a session with me. It's much more efficient, much quicker, and it will blow your mind. And then you can go away and work on it. It's the most valuable thing you could do, because these programs create your reality. So any limitations you have are coming from them, and you need to see them. So you either do the work yourself, or you book a session with me, and we can do them in 1 hour. You can find out the main one, and then you go away and you go into the desert, so to speak, because you've got to do the work yourself and take responsibility. It scares most people, but you're going to come back at some point you're going to have to look within if you really want to change. So this is the way of body conditioning. Yeah, we're trying to expand, remove inefficiencies. Yeah, we want to work with nature. These are first principles. Stretching every day. You might be 20 and you're cool, but I'm 52. I have to stretch every day. Remineralize the body, because it's otherwise it's very inefficient. Look at your behaviors that create all of this, because they're extremely inefficient, and it's a removal process. So I think I've explained everything. Yeah, working with nature, move every day, reconnect, and then reconnect fundamentally with the person that created those hamster wheels. That's the most valuable thing you can do, is to reconnect with yourself. That would be the number one thing, but obviously reconnecting with your physical body is important to do every day, and to feed that battery is absolutely critical as well. Any questions on that, pop them below. If you like it, I'd appreciate the like, because it helps my channel. And please share, so that other people can get this information, and so they can get on with it and sort themselves out. No one knows really what's going on with their bodies, and my kind of work is just making it simple and understandable, so you can go away and enjoy, remove limitations, and reach your potential, so you can enjoy the life you've been given. Thanks so much. Have a great day.